Hi, I'm Irene with Cornerstone Christian Counseling, and I have the pleasure of being here with Erin Coughlin, who is one of our new LPCs as well as LMFT, which I'm going to let her explain. Tell us all about you as a counselor.
Oh my gosh, all of the acronyms. Yes, I am a licensed professional counselor and a licensed marriage and family therapist in the state of Colorado, which means that I love to help families. I love to help couples. I'm very invested in my clients' relationships and helping them thrive and experience healing and peace and the presence of the Lord.
So, what drew you to become a counselor in the first place? That is definitely not a role I would ever see myself in.
Real deal what happened. I was so burnt out in my previous careers, and I was talking with my counselor and
Hmm.
telling her how rough my day to day was and how I was going from meeting to meeting and constantly getting a text message or a call or an email. She said, that's why I love my job. I sit and I connect with people all day. And I thought to myself, that sounds like my dream job. And I came back and I said, do you think I could do what you do? And she said, yes. And if you didn't bring it up, I was going to bring it up, which
Ah,
was like Batman telling you could be Batman. So I had to go for it. I applied to grad school the next day
that is
and
so cool.
it was so cool.
So you talked about, the types of people that you like to see, anyone from, I mean, it sounds like kids to individual adults to couples to family units. Can you talk a little bit about, every counselor is different. What are the specialties, the therapy approaches that you like to use in counseling?
Yeah, absolutely. I am an attachment therapist, and to really water that down, what that means is I take a look at your childhood experiences and we find connections between how those experiences as a child influence the way you show up in relationships now, the way you see yourself, the way you see other people, the way you see God. All of those early life experiences inform what we call our attachment style. And our attachment style can make relationships tough and messy. I also love to use experiential interventions. So, oftentimes, parents who are struggling with their child who's been through trauma, maybe their child was adopted and has broken attachment, is struggling to feel safe and to accept connection and then is acting out. I love to use role plays, for example. So maybe I'll pretend to be your kid and you'll pretend to be you, and we'll fine tune how you respond to your children to create safety and create new ways of interacting that do not reinforce harmful beliefs that have been sown in the heart. I'm trained in play therapy as well, which is a really great way of helping children express experiences that they do not have the words to understand yet. I also love to help parents learn how to play with their kids. I want parents to be empowered to take what we're doing in our 1 hour, maybe 1 hour and 30 minutes of the week, to bring it home and to create lasting change in their homes. So, my goal is to empower you, not to step into your place. I want moms and dads empowered and armored with knowledge, with new ways of responding, so that you can continue to create change at home. Therapy is a launching pad.
So this is kind of like the first time I've really heard about attachment focused therapy. So
Yeah.
can you give me an example of maybe a client or family you had in the past that you really helped them through something heavy, and then they were able to really heal and grow through their work with you?
So, oftentimes, the clients I'm working with have had disrupted attachment at the very beginning of their lives because they were adopted. And adoption creates attachment trauma. This is not the adopted person's fault, the adopted child's fault. It's a consequence of that separation from birth mother. One of the families I was supporting had two adopted daughters who were twins. And these twins, before the age of 3, had been moved into 4 different foster homes, had experienced neglect, abuse, betrayal. They did not have great relational experiences. So by the time they came to their forever family, they had already been wired for fear, for apprehension, for opposition. and defiance. Because why would you listen to somebody who you don't believe is safe? Why would you let yourself get close to someone you believe is going to leave you? So, in working with this family, I was able to support mom and dad in their responses to their girls because, like most all of us, mom and dad had their own attachment stories and their own experiences in their families that would get triggered in these situations with their girls. So, when they would encounter a difficult situation, challenging behavior, moment of disconnection, it would bring up their own experiences from their childhood. So, helping mom and dad to identify their triggers, what was coming up for them in these moments of difficult parenting, we could then fine tune their responses and find opportunities for mom and dad to respond in a way that prioritized connection over control and regulation over dysregulation. So, I think anyone who's been around a raging toddler or a defiant teen feels that burn up the back of your spine. So after getting mom and dad the support that they needed, we were able to bring the girls into the process. Now we were helping mom and dad communicate with their daughters. There's a tool that I love to teach families called attachment communication training. It provides a very structured, kind of awkward at first, safe environment for connecting and deep listening to happen. So we got the girls talking with their parents, able to actually communicate with one another in a clear and connecting way. And then we were able to address some of that early childhood trauma with the girls through experiential therapy. These girls were able to use what I like to call the inner child metaphor. And this is a tool that allows them to correct some of those lies that result from trauma when we're young. By the end of our time together, the girls are doing great. They're participating in school again, grades are improved. Things are not perfect by any means. When you've got that level of complex trauma early in life, you'll find that it's developmental in nature. So, as different seasons and ages come up, that trauma takes a different meaning. And that's one of the values of having a therapist that you do have a relationship with, is that you can go back as these old experiences show up in new ways.
That is such a cool story. I would love to know what is therapy with you like? What would you say to someone who is thinking about going to therapy with you for the first time?
Yeah, absolutely. Therapy with me is I'm going to meet you where you're at, and I'm going to challenge and encourage you towards growth and change. Empathy is necessary, but not sufficient. And I want my clients to leave our sessions every day with a new insight, a new tool, with a takeaway that they're going to be able to implement and use for real change in their lives. It's a huge investment to come to therapy. I value your time. I want it to be valuable for you, and I will work as hard as you work.
Thank you so much, Erin. It was so nice being able to speak with you today. If you guys would like to learn more about Erin, what she does, or set up an appointment with her, I've got her link to her bio down in the description. Otherwise, hopefully we'll see you soon. Thank you again, everyone.
Thank you.